Hello, my friend. Happy Friday if you're listening to this on a Friday. This is Heather. This is the Back to Me podcast. And today I am talking with Jenny Lee, and we're talking about creating habits that will create more joy and happiness and freedom in your life, and how that will cascade into other parts of your life. And as you know, that is one of the key messages that I love. And I love sharing that with people. And hopefully, the more often you hear it and the more ways you hear it, the more it will start to feel real for you. And that is part of what my program, the Thriving Life Method, is all about, where we work on the different aspects of you so that you can become your best self. And become is that acronym where we work on balancing out your body, your emotions, your connections, your occupation, your money, your engagement, so that you can have more joy in your life. If you are interested, always reach out to me. I can tell you more about the method and more how it will help you. And dive into today's podcast and have a listen to Jenny. I'm sure you're going to love what she has to say. And remember, start small, don't overwhelm yourself. And you too can someday get to that place that you want to be. Take care, my friends. Hi, my friends. Welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is Heather, and I am super excited that you're here. You are going to hear some tips and some tricks and some ideas to help you live your happiest and healthiest self. I call it Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, back to me, then you can take better care of others, and we can all make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way, and I am super happy that you're here. Hello, my friend. How are you? I hope you are having a most excellent day. This is Heather. This is the Back to Me podcast, and it is another edition of our amazing human conversations. And we all, I love finding out all about how people work and how they got into what they did, and plus their extreme fabulous knowledge that they share with us. And today, I am welcoming Jenny Lee, who is a habits coach. That's like an all-encompassing thing. Aren't we just mostly habits? Yes. Yes. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Heather. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that this is going to be so much fun.
Right. Yes. That's my word of the year is fun. So it's a requirement. No
Yeah.
pressure. No pressure. So one of the things that I'm always super curious about is how did you become a habits coach?
That's interesting. It's really just a title,
Yeah.
right? For that, I was just like, okay, what would make sense for people? Life coach? Yeah, whatever. Okay, that might just make sense. But then when I actually think about it, and when I'm being honest about it, I feel that habits is really something that makes it who you are, right? And the habits that I have been at least implementing in my life, and now I'm helping other people to implement in their lives, is the habit of joy. And yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And it starts in the morning to start with.
Right. And so I think of this because I think about when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, did I think I'm going to grow up to be a coach? No, I didn't. Right? It's like one of those things that have become more prevalent. And what was your path that led you into coaching?
It really started because I was really unhappy. And after I've read so many stories and learned about other people's life stories, like what brought them to this path of realization, or, some kind of an enlightenment. It's really because they've had this dark night of the soul, or whatever
Right.
you want to call it. Right? It's the path where you feel you're the most lost and you don't know where to go. And the only thing that you have is really yourself and your inner compass. And that's what really happened to me. And that was when I became a mother. When I had this responsibility for another life, and I felt like, okay, that's when things are really the opposite of what I used to have. It used to be I was only responsible for myself. Um, all I did was, have fun and think about, like, what's next that would be fun. And oh, now I'm a mother. Um, yeah, and so that's a very interesting path. Really, that's a very interesting journey, because that really brought me to all these other states that need healing within me, right? It could be generational. It could just be, like my past wounds. And I think I could start with, all right, what I know has been there genetically. Um, Growing up, I mean, I know that my mom did her best to be the best mom that she could be, protecting her kids. But she also had this unconscious story that's going on, that's been generational, what is expected of women.
Right.
And all the sacrifices that you need to make as a woman to be considered acceptable in society, right? And that is by depleting herself, exhausting herself, breaking her body, and it's like, oh yeah, she's such a noble woman. And of course, that didn't turn out very well for her children, me and my sister, because she was creating this negative environment for me and my sister to grow up in. And so, that's trauma being passed down on me, right? And then there it is, like, me being a mother. And for the next couple of years of me being a mother, that was pretty much what was playing out. But I think the difference is I am more aware of it, and I was also not accepting it. Yeah.
The
And
rebel.
that was I believe that every generation has like this innate evolutionary process that's going on. And I'm glad that I was aware of it. But still, I was not in a good state. I was exhausted. I was depleted. I was always angry. I was emotionally very unhealthy. And it was causing me, um, it was pretty much costing me all of my relationships. I didn't have any friends. I constantly had conflicts with everybody else around me. I was always angry with little things, that's around me, politics, social life, just people, just the
Right.
simplest things, because I wasn't happy and I was not in a good emotional state. And so that led to a divorce. Um, and because of that divorce, I finally had time for myself. And that was when I learned to reevaluate and be with myself and learn what I really wanted. Um, the biggest thing that I still believe that I'm holding on to right now, I just wanted to be free. I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to enjoy life. And I think that's what everybody else wants too. That's pretty much the purpose of life, right? Like in
Right.
incarnation. But I guess at that point, because we're so, um, a lot of us are living in this programming, right, of grinding, hard work, sacrifice. And like in order for you to be a noble person, there's like all of this sacrifice, compromises that you have to make. And that was pretty much what I was doing, right? And at some point, I just had to, because I had to make peace with the work that at that point I hated. And my guilt and shame of being an incapable mother at that point, because I was emotionally unavailable, because I was always exhausted, I was always depleted, right? I had all these expectations of being a mother, a homemaker, a wife, and and I also had a teaching job. And I just wasn't available to take care of this new life that was my responsibility. Yeah, and so after the divorce, I finally had some time to spend with myself and realized that I need to take care of my own well-being in order for me to be able to attend to all these things.
Right.
And that happened in the morning because I had a job that I hated, right? Maybe just like a lot of people in the world, right? Waking up to jobs that they don't like, having to serve people, and then they're always at the bottom of the list, right? And they're just exhausted, and they have to wake up every day and dragging themselves to face the world and face their responsibility and doing all of that in a state of depletion. And that's who I was pretty much. But at some point, I just decided that was not the life that I wanted to live. I could not live like this anymore. I
Right.
mean, yeah, because before that, it was all really, I was in despair pretty much. Like, I had suicidal thoughts, right? And all kinds of negativity, and I was totally separated from myself, from my true self, and I did not know how to have fun. And it's like, oh, just taking a nap, like I had guilt about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because I was supposed to be grinding right now. I was supposed to be busy, and I was supposed to be, I was supposed to act as a mother, right? And I was supposed to be, I don't know, doing all other things I was expected to do. And so after the divorce, me and my ex-husband had split custody. And so I had a few days for myself, which I did not know what to do.
Right. When you first get it, you're a bit lost, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh, what was I supposed to do? But and at that point, I also hated my job. But eventually, because I got tired of being in this hamster wheel, right? Being in the motion and hating my job, waking up, dragging myself. And at some point, I just felt like, okay, this cannot continue. I can't live like this. Um, but I think what I did was really stepping out of that drama, stepping out of that hamster wheel. All what I did was just put on some music and start moving my body to the music. And I had so much fun. And interestingly, that felt so much lighter. I actually felt a little happier because I did that. And so
Right.
the following, and okay, I went to work that day. And then the next morning, I did that again. And then again and again. So I woke up 10 minutes earlier just so I could dance before I went to work. And that was the magic. My mood was uplifted. Things felt so much lighter. And I didn't mention that the job that I had was a teacher in inner city school, and they come from environments that are very unhealthy to grow up in.
Mhm.
And so they would come to school expecting to get love from me, which I could not give because I was depleted and exhausted.
Right.
But because I was, because, you know, giving myself joy and love was the first thing that I did for myself. And that uplifted my mood. I was so much more available emotionally
It's
for
true.
these kids,
And it's
right?
so interesting that, and this is coming from some, I'm in some mastermind groups and some some newer coaches that I've talked to. It's interesting how many people come to coaching because they've had a crisis and they recognize, I need some help. And, people come when they're in that place of crisis and they're at the very bottom and they don't know what to do. And then when something like coaching helps them move past it and come out of it, they have I want to help people do this, right? So
Mm.
you started with morning habits because you're the morning habits coach, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
started with just trying to find your way out of this dark place so that you could help people. And
Mm-hmm.
that developed into this, I can help people, like, just start their day. I mean, beyond that, I mean, we're talking about joy and happiness, but really, when you get out of bed, if you're in a bad mood, it's going to carry through your day, right?
Exactly. And that brings me to the next point. Why the morning? Because when you wake up, when you just wake up, your brain is in this cleanest slate. It's the most malleable, it's the most impressionable, and it's between that brainwave, delta and theta, between the deep sleep and the grogginess when you just wake up. And that is the most fertile point of of the state. So whatever seed that you put in, that's the tree that's going to grow out throughout the day. So when you put the seeds of, oh, I'm going to have fun today, I'm going to enjoy my life today, that's what's going to happen. That's what you attract throughout your experiences and the people that you're going to interact and right. And so that's what the habit is all about. When you're consistent enough with the habit of, okay, wake up 10 minutes earlier, do something that is loving for yourself, do something that is so much fun and joyful for yourself that you are eager to wake up to the next morning. And that's the seed that's going to, it's going to grow throughout the day, throughout the week, the months, and the year. And that becomes you eventually, because then you start embodying that energy. And so that's why that's the biggest point of of the habit, is for you to embody the energy eventually, but you need to start small
Right.
first. Yeah.
What do you tell? I'm sure you have clients who say, I can't get up 10 minutes early.
No, it used to be me. Um,
Right?
like, oh, wake up 10 minutes early. I would rather sleep 10 more minutes. you know, of course. Yeah, especially when you're tired. But if you actually think about it, when you're breastfeeding, right? When you have a toddler that just like, can't like step away from you, it's, of course, you want to be there and be nurturing all the time. But in order for you, just like the soil, in order for the soil to grow things, it needs to be, its well-being, it's being fertile needs to be prioritized first, right? It needs
Right.
to be given love first. You cannot grow anything from dry soil. So in order for you to make all of these obligations easier throughout the day, first you need to nurture yourself. First you need to nourish yourself. And the way I do it is by giving yourself just 10 minutes first thing in the morning when you wake up, before everybody else wakes up, right? Before you feel like you're being judged. Wake up 10 minutes early when everybody is sleeping. Do something that makes you feel the most exhilarated, that makes you come alive, that
So
gives
you
you.
don't make everybody dance.
No, like that's the thing. It's like, okay, like go to sleep, and I would just do this on my own. Spend time with yourself. And that's when the dance is happening, right? Okay, it might just be, low volume, and that's okay,
Or
right? But the
headphones.
point is to move your body and move the energy and feel exhilarated,
Well, and what's interesting is people, because, people are very pressed for time and they
Mm,
always feel like they have so much going on and they're so busy and this just came to me when you were talking, they will say that they can't get up 10 minutes earlier. But I bet you that while they're getting ready, they waste 10 minutes on social media,
there you go.
right?
Yeah. So
It'll
instead
still
of,
be there
yeah,
later.
exactly. So that's also my message. Social media, business, all these obligations, they will always be there waiting. But you need to show up for yourself first before you show up for those things, right?
Right.
All of it really comes down to putting yourself first, because you are the asset. You are the glue of the community, of the family that you have. Without you, all of these things won't exist. That's what I keep telling myself. But in order for it to exist in the best way, you need to first establish the kind of energy that you're building these things from, right? You want to already have it nourished and loved, and you already generate all this joy and love within you, and you've solidified that energy. Then the kids come up, you interact with them in this loving way, and you prepare their breakfast in this loving way, and you go to work, interact, and build all these, do all these activities when you've already established, when you've already sealed that place of love within you. And
Right.
that's how your next actions will be based off.
Right. And I know, like my morning habit is I actually meditate every morning.
Mm.
So I don't move in the morning. Um, it's easier for me to transition from bed to my cushion and I just sit and I usually don't have anything on. I won't turn on radios or social media or anything, at least for probably 90
Mm.
minutes to 2 hours, because
Oh,
that's quiet
very
space,
good.
right? Where you give yourself that space. And I've been meditating for, I don't know, over 20 years. So you do embody that habit. And it's funny that you say that it does change you when you go into your whatever you're going into. There was a period of time where on Wednesdays, I had something very early and I didn't have time to meditate in the morning, or I thought I didn't. And I would go to, I was in art school and I went to school. And one of the people who would sit with me on Wednesdays, he would say, I'm not going to sit with you on Wednesdays. You're crabby. So even subtle changes, people notice these subtle changes in you, right? And
Mhm.
that's, I mean, I only bring that up as an example of your habit doesn't have to be something out of character, right? It doesn't have
No,
to be. It's something for
no.
you.
So the point is really not to do something that you should do. Okay, that's probably something that I should emphasize here.
Yeah,
It's not what you should do. It's what you feel like doing. It's what feels the most aligned with your desire, with your happiness, with your joy, right? So this is probably the smallest window that you could do, like what Joseph Campbell said: follow your bliss. For me, it's dancing. It could
right.
be yoga for some people, right? Just maybe 5 to 10 minutes of like yoga movement, and get you moving, or walk outside and get some fresh air. Or for some people, okay, if you like Peloton because you got some attractive instructors on the screen, that you find inspiring, if that's why you want to keep going back to, then go for it, right? Just for the short 10 minutes, but like give yourself that satisfaction, give yourself that exhilaration that makes you come alive. And that's love, like, that you're loving yourself, you give yourself what you need.
Well,
Then,
I'm thinking back to when you were first didn't know what to do with yourself, right? It's like you've never had that opportunity before. I can see people would be, well, I don't even know what to do.
hmm,
So they don't even know what I can see, like, there's gonna be people in the world who don't even know what makes them happy at this point because they've gotten so far away from it. And, I mean, part of the podcast is to try to help people find their way back, but I guess how do you help people to find their way back into that place of happiness?
yeah, to be honest with you, when I started, when I just felt like it was really a time of despair for me. It was all dark. I was on my own, and in one morning, I just woke up a little too early, and I couldn't go back to sleep anymore. Yeah, but something that was out of habit was me. Okay, I might wake up the neighbor, but at that point, I was just like, I don't care. Like, I don't give an F. you know, Turned on the music, and it's like, okay, this is fun. Like, and usually it used to be my mornings were just like, quiet and grumpy and cranky. And that's how I felt like, okay, I appreciate like quiet mornings, but it was just like, me drowning in my
Some people
misery.
don't want quiet, right?
I mean, I guess it could be, but at that point, I just wanted, I don't know, intuitively, I just turned on the music, right? And oh, okay, this is fun music. I could move my body to it. And I was like, oh, this is not so bad. And so it wasn't even anything that I planned. I just kind of
Right.
intuitively felt like, okay, this would probably make me feel better. And then 5 minutes into it, oh, this is not so bad. And so I woke up. I decided to wake up 10 minutes earlier the next morning. And hey, this is really good. I'm actually having fun. I actually feel exhilarated. And my breathing felt like, it was opening my heart. And I felt exhilarated in the process. And so the next morning I did it again. And that became some kind of a habit because I really liked it. And it made me, like I said, come alive.
Right.
And it uplifted my mood. It made me happier. So I would come to work. Before it was just like, me on a hamster wheel, right? Being in emotion, do my work, submit my lesson plans, get the students to like, I'm a teacher, English teacher,
Yeah. Yeah.
get the students to do their work and go home and let me collect my paycheck. And, and that was it. Right. But
And a
then,
lot of people are operating there right now,
yeah,
right?
right. It's so hard. It's such a hard life to wake up to. And so what I created for myself was this little window, this little habit that I'm excited to wake up to because I'm waking up to some music. I'm waking up to some movement that made me happy. And it uplifted my mood. I would go back to work. I would go to work. And these students who I used to just like, do your work and leave me alone. And now I actually could interact with them like
Right.
humans. And that really accommodated my work, my teaching, because they became so much more receptive to my work, right? And I had a good relationship with them. And that was my feedback. So after a few weeks, I felt, you know what? I want to have more fun. So let me add 5 more minutes so I could dance a little longer. And I had more fun. And I started thinking about, okay, I kind of wanted to add a variety, like, some kind of variety, maybe a challenge, like, some challenging dance moves. So I added 5 more minutes so I could learn the challenge, right? Then it kind of evolved into, oh, I kind of want to learn how to do push-ups because I could not do it that time.
Oh my gosh.
Upper body
Nobody
strength.
ever says that, by the way.
But I started with a quarter of push-ups, right? And then half a push-up after a couple of months, and one push-up finally after 3 months. And I was so proud of myself. I could do one push-up. And now I do 30 push-ups actually every morning.
Right.
And that's me getting in touch with that part of me that's playful, right? Through the dance, the challenge, and then that part of me that still likes to grow, which I think is in everyone, right? It's like children. That's why they grow so quickly. And like, all the radiance that they have, it's from being playful and this love for growth, right? And for learning. And that's what I was doing for myself. And I didn't even realize it at that point. Then I learned juicing, about juicing. And so I added 15 more minutes.
Now
Now
how you're getting up like an hour early now?
2 hours. Now
2
I have
hours.
2 hours. Yeah, and it's all just full of fun and focusing only for myself.
Well, and people
And
might if you had started with, "I get up 2 hours early," people would have stopped listening
oh,
immediately,
oh,
right?
that
It's
that
like,
wouldn't have worked for me either.
no, it wouldn't
Absolutely
work for
not. No.
it's like you have to gradually add
Yes,
on.
it's not even gradual. So in order for it to be easy, like for it to be gradual, like because you would want to have more of it, you need to make it fun and simple and easy. Those are the three things that I feel is really important, because you would want to associate your mind and your body to the new habit positively. And in
Right.
order for you to do that, it needs to be kind, it needs to be easy, it needs to be simple and fun, right?
And
So
and
that's
you
why
need
I
to
start.
you need to give time for it to become a habit, right?
Yes, and that's why I start with 10 minutes. And so I really suggest for everybody who wants to make a change and who wants to pick up a new habit, make, ask yourself how you can make it easy, ask yourself how you can make it simple and fun.
Right.
And for me, it was 10 minutes. That's pretty easy. Everybody could wake up 10 minutes early when you are stepping into something fun. Like for me, it's dancing. For you, maybe having a walk outside, right? Or when you walk your dog, be present with your dog and notice how they seem to be so excited about everything. Ooh, tree, ooh, flowers, ooh, bushes. Like, it's so much fun to watch that. Or maybe yoga, right? Or like I said, Peloton, anything that.
It's so funny that you mentioned, walking your dog, because I live across the road from a dog park,
Mm-hmm.
and I see people, they take their dogs there, they let them loose, and then they're just standing on their phone instead of, like, actually walking, instead of actually being there. It's like when you take parents take their kids to the park and put them on the play set while they're while they're on their cell phone. It's like, that's not taking your kid to the park. That's
Yeah.
not taking your dog for a walk. That's you just sitting on your phone and not really being present to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like to have the, no when I'm out for a walk, the no, no electronics rule when I'm out walking,
That is, you know what? That's pretty much what I do for the
right?
2 hours, or at least 1.5 hours that the first 1.5 hours that I'm awake. No electronics. I would just use the electronics to like maybe turn on some music, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But the focus should be on yourself, on how you can have so much fun, on how you can nourish yourself, that you are the best version of yourself at the first moments of the morning.
And if you're already unhappy and you're in a place of struggle, this is something that I mean, I know social media has done a lot for us, but I think one of the detriments of it is if you start your morning by the first thing you do is go on social media,
Mm,
you're gonna feel worse
not gonna help.
because you're comparing I heard this quote recently and I was like, "Oh my goodness." It was, "Stop comparing your inside to other people's outside." So on social media, you're only gonna see what people are gonna show
No,
you, right?
no, no, and
Not what's going on inside,
that used to be me. Uh,
right?
yeah, you just can't help it.
And social media, that's what I mean, that's part of their whole way of keeping you there and keeping you scrolling. So, get yourself into a good place before you go there,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
I go on social media, but not until later.
now here's the thing too. I don't go on social media. So I set my social media in a way that it's only inspiring things
Mm,
that goes through my feed, right? Like before, like anything, there's like any chance of comparison, like don't even give a chance to all those things. um I subscribe only to things that will inspire me. And so when I can't help myself, right, like scrolling social media, something that prioritize your feeling good, that's on my
yep,
feed. Or some inspiring um life coach that comes out, who says the universe loves you,
right?
instead of like, look at me on a jet ski, or like
Yeah,
all of those things.
yeah, I
I
know.
mean, it's cool, but there needs to be some kind of intention, right? Okay, so maybe I should share the 4 pillars that
Yes,
I
share
have
some
for
pillars.
like 2 hours,
Yeah,
right? Emotional is always at the top, because when I'm happy, everything else looks good, everything else feels good when I'm doing it. And so that's why I start with a dance. with the music. I feel, I feel alive. I feel like my heart is open. I feel amazing. And while I'm doing that, I'm also meeting my physical needs, which is to be in shape, right? And to nourish that physical part is also juicing. So I do celery juicing, lemons, and with turmeric and ginger.
You're
Um,
making a yucky face.
it's
I'm sure I'm
delicious.
sure, yeah, I'm sure you get used to it. I don't like celery. I'm just gonna
Oh,
own it. I don't like celery.
I completely understand. Hey, you could replace it with something that you find delicious and
Okay, thanks.
also really nourishing for you. Maybe put some honey in it or something. Or carrots. Carrots can be kind of sweet, or
Carrots
pomegranate,
are great. Yeah,
right?
all those are
Yeah,
good. It's just
yeah.
the celery you lost me.
I know. I honestly, I don't really like it either, but I just take it anyway because I know that it makes me feel awesome after that. So, yeah, I take it. And the third one is intellectual. So the challenge that I told you about, it could be anything, could be physical, right? Because when I say intellectual, it could be you training your muscle memories, like to through the push-ups or some challenging dance moves. Or it could be, I don't know, playing the guitar or learning a new language just for 5 minutes. Learn 2 words, right? Every
Right?
morning for 5 minutes of, I don't know, you want to learn Italian or Spanish or Chinese, right? And I also listen to audiobooks that I find intellectually challenging. uh yeah, I was listening to Brene Brown, The Atlas of the Heart, and there's like
Right.
some interesting new words and conception that was just like, oh, I mean, it's all new, of course. Like you can't get everything, can't absorb everything at one time, but you get some seeds
Yeah,
that
yeah.
aspire, that makes you aspire, like that curiosity, right?
I wouldn't want to be in the matrix and be able to download everything immediately because then there's nothing interesting. There's
Yeah,
nothing new. There's
there's no
nothing,
process.
yeah, there's no
Yeah,
time to integrate or be
exactly.
excited about the exploration and the ahas. So, yeah, we don't need to know everything at once. Just a
No,
little piece at a time, a little piece at
yeah.
a time, right?
And that's good enough, right? And with me just learning a few steps, say salsa, something that I didn't know before, but because I've been learning it 5 minutes every day for 5 weeks, then I was like, oh, I could do this more smoothly now. That's the intelligence of your body that you're nurturing, which is
Right?
amazing, right? And the last one is spiritual. Well, it shouldn't be the last one because emotional and spiritual, like those are the top two things. But something that I'm going to have to ask you to stop watching or listening is the news. Like, put that away. Don't even touch that because you don't want that to pollute your mentality. You don't want to, you don't want it to pollute your morning, basically. I meditate, and I do breath work. Um, I think to make it a little stronger, I do icy cold shower. That helps too. Um, but all of it, they all weave together, and at least the effect on me is that it forms the wholeness of myself,
Right.
that I'm ready to bring out in the world. Right?
And
Because
so you're showing like the progression of all I started with was this.
10 minutes a day.
And then now it's this and this and this and this, but you had fun, like, adding the things on and creating your own healthy habits,
Yeah.
right? Which is amazing, amazing. That's
Thank you.
very cool. And where can people find you to help y for you to help them with their habits? Don't get scared, it'll be small to start.
Easy. Yes. Start easy. That's
Start
my thing. If
easy,
it's not easy, I don't do it.
right?
Yeah.
And you have a website,
Mhm.
right?
I am usually active on social media. That would be Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So on Instagram, it's Sunny Jenny Lee, and on Facebook, because I work mostly with busy women and moms. I have this Facebook group called Burnout Mom Support.
Oh, good.
So feel free to join it, and I'm going to give you the link to it. And I also have a Facebook page, and it's strictly for support.
Right.
So I'm going to give all the notes so that you could put it on your show notes.
Yeah.
But
It
I'll be
will all
happy.
be in the show notes, and we will have a link there for people if they want to book an appointment with you as well. There'll be
Yes, that's right. And I also give about a 30-minute coaching session free, and we could get you started on
right,
how you could start the next day. And we would use some time to explore what you really want to do, what makes you happy, because that
right.
needs to be the priority.
Yeah.
Something that brings you joy, so you could generate that, because then at the end you would understand that joy and happiness is really your responsibility to generate. If you want to be happy, you want your life to change, nothing else would help you do that but yourself. You need to do it for you. You need to generate that own your own joy and happiness.
That's like a total mic drop right there. You're like,
Thank you.
boom, here's a final word of wisdom for you guys. Boom. You got to take responsibility and do it. And I totally agree with that 100%.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. That was fabulous. And it's like you knew that this was like the final word of wisdom and you just put it out there. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for coming and sharing some of this exciting journey that you're on and how you're helping people. That's so awesome.
Thank you so much. And I'm so, so happy to be here and sharing that with you, because so to actually talk about why I'm doing this, um, something that came to realization is that so many of us are too long being in this unhappy state and survival mode.
Right.
Right? The world um, needs more happiness and more joy. It's like the fact that so many people are abusing each other, right? Operating in a state of fear. That's because they're just so they forget how to be in touch with themselves. But my process, what I've been doing, is a way for me to reconnect with myself, to get to know myself, and know again what makes me happy. And when I follow that, when I align and tune in with what gives me joy the most, that changed my personality. That gives me so much joy. It recharges me. And that made me a better parent. That made me a better person, made me a better teacher, right?
Right.
And all the energy that I put out there is just of joy and happiness. And I interact with people, build my life, perform at my job from a place of happiness and love, right? And I just wish that more leaders, right? Corporate leaders, or
I wish everybody would do it, really.
yeah.
Like,
And then they would create such a positive environment for people to thrive in,
yeah.
right? Rather than like, oh, we got to grind, we got to hustle, and be afraid of this and this and that. And that's not why we're here in this incarnation, in this life.
And that's why
The
you're helping
purpose,
everyone.
yeah, and we're here in this life because we want to be happy, we want to enjoy life. And the only way to do it is to reconnect with yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're
Your
so welcome.
passion is obvious, and I know that your clients probably benefit a lot from that. So thank you for coming and sharing your energy with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm having so much fun.
Okay, great. And my friends in podcast land, give Jenny a call. Give Jenny a call, connect with Jenny, and start to develop your fabulous habits. Take care. I will see you again soon. Hi, my friend. Thanks so much for listening to this entire podcast. If you found it useful and you're like me and you like helping others, please feel free to share this. Give it a like, give it a comment. If you found something useful in it, there's a chance that someone else will find something useful as well. Also, if you have any questions at all, I can absolutely help, and I would love to help, you can email me at heather@prosperityflowcoaching.com. If you want more of this awesome content, you can follow me on Instagram, Heather Stewart Coaching. You can follow me on Facebook, Prosperity Flow Coaching. And I have a personal request. I want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. And if you could give me a review, hopefully a good one, if you could share, if you could send this out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope that you find your way to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend.